War Room, Gwinnett County, the people's voice, keeping you informed. War Room, Gwinnett County, the people's voice. Oh, okay. Thank you for tuning in to War Room, Gwinnett County. I'm your host, Antonio Jones. See, that happens when I guess you're pushing all the buttons, switching and everything. We're back with another exciting episode. As always, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is War Room, Gwinnett County. We created the platform to be the public square where candidates, everyday people can come, have conversations, and we don't have to wait on the mainstream media to put things out there for us. If you're in Gwinnett County, you know that the crime is, not so great. People don't feel safe. And so we've decided to make sure that we here in the War Room cover what we believe are the top 5 areas and the pillars of local society. That's going to be the sheriff's office, the district attorney, school board, county commission, and city councils. So we got to keep our eyes on these seats and try to make sure that we get people elected that are going to do the best thing for the people. It's no secrets in Gwinnett County that our sheriff's office is, what we're hearing, what we're gathering, some of the information, people coming to us is saying that, this particular office is kind of being run like a mafia style situation, meaning that people are afraid that they're going to lose their jobs, if they contest the sheriff in any kind of way. A lot of people are afraid to speak up. And quite frankly, the way that the facilities are being run, we're hearing is subpar. So, government is designed to be run as a body. So you want to have good people in leadership running these particular offices, because case in point, if you have a great police force who's going out here every single day, putting their life on the line, doing the right thing, arresting people, then you have a failed district attorney's office, then that undermines the efforts of another part of the governmental body, which is the police force. So we're going to have some guests on right after this short break, and they're going to give you an update on what's going on in their campaign. Like, share, and subscribe.
Accelerate your business goals and brand presence on the World Wide Web by logging on to safewayhost.store to purchase domain names, web hosting, email hosting, SSL, and more. We have 24/7 customer service and support available to our clients. Get started today so you can achieve your business goals by increasing your web presence. Log on to safewayhost.store today. That's safewayhost.store.
War Room, Gwinnett County, the people's voice, keeping you informed. War Room, Gwinnett County, the people's voice. Thank you guys for tuning in or staying tuned. War Room, Gwinnett County. So today, we're going to be having a conversation to get an update with this candidate that's running for sheriff in Gwinnett County, who believes he can and or will make a change in the county around the culture of what's going on in the jail and just overall be an asset to the county. And that candidate is Joe Mark. Joe, welcome back to the show. And you might have to unmute yourself. Welcome back to War Room. For those who may not have saw you prior to now, can you give them a rundown of why you decided to run for the office of sheriff in Gwinnett County?
Certainly. Yeah, Antonio, thank you so much for having me on today. The main reason why I want to run is because I'm not happy with how things are going currently. Like you stated earlier, the crime's up. There's not a very good cooperation amongst the municipalities of the county, I perceive. From the law enforcement standpoint, there's a vacuum of leadership at the sheriff's office. And quite honestly, I mean, the place is a dumpster fire. It's like what where fun and success goes to die. It's like a black hole just sucking all that stuff up. And a lot of my friends are over there, colleagues, people that I've worked with before. And I really believe that my diverse background of law enforcement, military, and private sector business will give me or has given me the tools needed to successfully put that place on the right path. And it's not going to be just me. It's going to take a collective group of people, like retired Chief Deputy Bill Walsh. We'll get into him in a second. It's going to take the community leaders, the chiefs of police, concerned citizens like yourself, church leaders. Only when we are working collectively on the same sheet of music, that's when you're going to start seeing a noticeable change in the culture amongst the sheriff's deputies, how the detainees are being treated. Because, you know, there's a legit humanitarian crisis over there. I mean, I'm not saying that for drama. I mean, imagine getting arrested, right? You're having a bad day, you get arrested, now you're locked up for 5 days at a time without getting a shower. Imagine your due process rights being violated because there's not enough deputies to man the courtrooms. I mean, these are legitimate things that are going on, and nobody's discussing it. You know, and we'll get into a lot of the minutia, the details. You know, over 80% of the individuals at the jail right now are suffering from mental health or drug addiction issues. I mean, really, is jail the right place for them? I'm not too certain. Yeah.
So you have a guest with you today, Billy Walsh, retired Chief Deputy for Gwinnett County. Can you just kind of go into a little bit of your background and
sure.
You know, the period from which you served and
my
everything
background,
like
obviously, I'm also a military veteran. Began my military career in 1988. While I was still in the reserves and got off active duty, I went to work for Gwinnett County. At the time, it was very difficult in 1988, 1990, the early 90s through the 2000s to get a job with Gwinnett County. I wound up starting off with the Department of Corrections, and in 1990 went to the Gwinnett County Police Academy, where I rose to the ranks as a police major. Was a precinct commander, was also the bomb squad commander, was over support operations. Was thinking about retiring at that point, and the previous sheriff asked me to come over to the sheriff's office, where I ended my career as the chief deputy at the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah. So you've seen a number of things change since I guess the leadership before the regime, I like to call it, that's in there now. What are some of the key things that you've seen change with it since Sheriff Taylor has taken over?
Well,
as
I mean,
when you were in it?
kind of take this in steps. Fiscal responsibility, obviously, that's went out the window. To be honest with you, you know, and just to lead into this, I've been an acquaintance and then a friend of Joe for a very long time. He knew me when I was working at the police department and also at the sheriff's office. Upon my retirement and the previous sheriff retiring, I still am in contact after 32 years with a lot of the employees that work there and the city agencies. Things started going downhill rapidly. Okay. One being, you know, specialized units that were created by the new administration that weren't budgeted for. Okay. Where did that personnel come from? If you create a unit and you don't have additional personnel approved in the budget, they got to come from someplace. The next thing would be recruitment and retention. All right. I mean, I've literally had deputies come to me personally and call me because the conditions were deteriorating so rapidly. Okay. And the way they were being treated has changed so drastically that they were leaving an occupation that they were proud to be in. You know, I guarantee it, you know, most law enforcement administrators that aren't successful right now, okay, will immediately blame, okay, initially they'll say retention has a lot to do with COVID. All right. Then they're going to say, well, it's a nationwide problem. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a complete lie. I travel all over the country teaching law enforcement officers and first responders. There's still agencies in this community and in this country that you cannot, you have to be on a waiting list to get hired. Okay. Departments which are supported by the county government, supported by the citizens, okay, are compensated fairly, okay, and there's definitely professional development through the ranks. Are the agencies that don't have the issues that a lot of these administrators, including the current sheriff, okay, are using as crutches, and it's unacceptable because we literally could not hire any more deputies when the prior administration was in place.
And your budget was lower too, if I'm not mistaken. 100 million versus almost 170 now. Is it 166? So
Yeah.
and they're down a third of their workforce. So now,
so more money, but less people wanting to work for the current leadership.
But he's got an abundance of civilian staff that he took from corporal positions and lieutenant positions and just made those civilian jobs, and they're all driving around in new unmarked cars. You know, they've got personnel over there that are civilians, right? But they're unmarked cars, what the undercover police use. So they got the MPT terminal in there, sir.
Do they get a salary, the civilian?
Oh yeah,
or is it just...
There's it's hard. I don't want to speak out of turn, like without facts, but from what I'm understood, not one of those civilian staff over there is under 100,000 a year. They're more like 120 from what I've been told. And our open records request shortly will give us the facts. Okay.
So up to $120,000
with a take-home car. And you've got sworn deputies in uniform that could go and use that vehicle. I was attending church last weekend, and there was a deputy there with their POV. You show up in a uniform in your own car. I mean, come on, what is that? That's
wow.
Wow. And to interject, a lot of people don't understand just how complex the sheriff's office is. I will speak to people on city councils, and they'll go, well, I don't interact with the sheriff's office a lot. We've got our own police department. Okay. Well, there's a lot that the sheriff's department does that I'm here to educate people. Okay. First of all, okay, first and foremost, the jail. Okay. The courts. All right. Then we're mandated to have a sex offender unit. All right. We've got an extradition unit. We've got a warrants unit. All right. A unit that was disbanded would have been the LPR unit, or the license plate reader, by this administration. I can tell you right now that unit was one of the most successful at actually locating wanted persons. Okay. Which is what the sheriff's office does. And going back to simple retention,
but before you go there, Billy, so how important is it for the cities? I don't know how the agencies interact, so you have to kind of fill us in to make sure they're properly interfaced with the sheriff's office so that they can get the, I guess, best support and best outcomes for that area in the city.
First and foremost, the simplest thing is, and I can tell you the prior administration, it was the sheriff's office job, if someone was taken into custody, to get that person processed, okay, into the facility, get the officer to a judge that was at the facility and back in service where he could serve the community and support his fellow officers that are out on the road. Okay. That's not happening now. There are absolute long delays. If you've got city officers and county officers that are held up at the jail for hours at a time, okay, that's a significant safety issue for not only citizens, but other officers that are out on the road, because they don't have the support if the jail isn't being run efficiently. it has an impact on every law enforcement agency within Gwinnett County.
Especially now the county, because they're just as short, if not more, of officers as well. I mean, God forbid, if you had to call 911 lately, you're going to be put on hold. And if you're not being victimized, I'll tell you a true story, okay? So this is no BS, real quick. I'll make it short. In my neighborhood, I sit on my HOA board. And the rental company, the property manager that does that, we had a neighbor run out of his house with a baseball bat, come after this lady a couple weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago. I live here in Gwinnett, obviously. Lady's terrified. She gets on the phone, calls 911. She's on hold. When she gets there, the lady's like, okay, what's going on? She tells her what's going on. She already got into her car and ran away from this guy, right? She's like, I'm sorry, there's no officers for us to send. Now, keep in mind that some guy just ran out of his house, chased her with a baseball bat, said he was going to effing kill her, end quote. She gets in her car and leaves. He chases her back down again. They still didn't have enough officers to send.
Wow. So how many officers short are we, or approximately?
As far as deputies, I can only tell you from my last record request.
And I can just tell you, I was in county government and in administration. You know, it's a numbers game. For instance, when I was there as a chief deputy, I could go to the sheriff and say, hey, I'm going to give back a captain's position working with AR. You have to do a formal request and say that I want to turn that into, say, 2 crime intelligence analysts. Okay. So what the actual numbers are now is something that would have to be done to get specific numbers but from HR and an open records request. But I know there's no doubt, okay, the fact that we are spending millions of dollars, Gwinnett County citizens are spending millions of dollars to send inmates from this facility to South Georgia, Irwin County, to be housed down there, which is another nightmare. Because how do they get back and forth to court for hearings? Okay. Transportation, I didn't mention that earlier, is another huge issue for the sheriff's office. They've got to go from the jail to courts, and they have to go to other jurisdictions. You know,
yeah. So we got plenty of money. You know, there's plenty of money being thrown around for for whatever reason, an increase in the budget. I know that it's definitely fact what you're saying as far as the shortage, because I know a gentleman that was a recruiter for Gwinnett PD, and he's been asked to, I guess, go back on the street. You know.
Yes, I mean, and like I said, you know, the support from the county commission is important. All right. More than anything else, the support of the community is important. But, you know, using that money efficiently and effectively. Okay. And like I said, there's no getting around it. We can say, you know, it's been a social perspective that has changed about going into law enforcement.
That's not true.
You know what? There is so much support out there, especially in Gwinnett County.
The commissioner's support, you know, I've talked to the commissioners. He knows them. I mean, obviously money's not an issue because they gave him, you know, 68 million more. The problem is the leadership themselves. Nobody wants to work for them. It's like a totalitarian dictatorship.
And I could put this into perspective, all right, as a watch commander, okay? And, you know, as a major and as a chief deputy, hands down, if I had 3 different shifts, okay, and I noticed that a very high percentage of officers wanted to transfer off a specific shift, why do you think that usually was?
It's because they don't want to work with the people that
they don't want to work for the supervision that's supervising them. Yeah. So guess what my job was? Not to blame the officers for wanting to leave a shift. Okay. You would have to address the sergeants and the watch commander and say, what are you guys not doing that all the other shifts are? Because I got nobody that wants to leave these shifts. And then even a bigger picture, you know, out to precincts. What the same thing in the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to leave morning watch. All right, 90% of the 99% of the time, I could look and see, all right, who the captain, all right, who the lieutenant, and who the sergeants were, and see the problem in black and white. So that's how you solve things. You don't constantly blame others, okay? And I can just tell you from years of experience, professional development, supporting your staff, okay? If there's a crisis, you know, if you have an officer or a deputy gets hurt, step up, be at the hospital, call the family, okay? If someone, you don't have to get personal with them, but you have to take into consideration that they're human beings. You have to be able to listen to them, all right? The last administration, all you had to do is make an appointment to see the sheriff. Me personally, I had an open door policy. I don't care, as long as I was not busy or in a meeting, if someone called and talked to the staff professional that worked for me, they can immediately come talk to me, and they can talk to me about whatever they want. You know, I would go into housing units. I would visit roll calls, talk to these folks about their professional development, ask them, what can I do better?
Right.
Okay. How can I change this? I encourage professional development. You know, a lot, it hasn't been mentioned. I haven't heard it from any of the leaders at this point. You know, the county's had a tuition reimbursement program for years. Now think about it from this perspective. It's like a recruiting tool. All right. I get a young 18 to 21-year-old that I can hire on at the sheriff's office. Then I get them and I encourage them to get involved in the tuition reimbursement program. All right. If they sign up for the tuition reimbursement program, guess what? They get their 2-year degree, say they do it in 2 years. Well, they can't leave the county, or they got to pay back that tuition reimbursement for 2 more years after that. If I get them in a 4-year degree program, I've got them locked in for 6. All right. But it's the people having to know that you want to take care of them. It makes them want to stay. Most people aren't going to leave to take another law enforcement job, okay, right, where they're happy for $10,000 more annual salary.
Yeah, and it's great to have incentives like that, but at the end of the day, it's so much better, like what you just said, if the person just really just wants to be there and work for the person, because for the leadership, it makes it less and less and less like a job. You know, who wants to wake up and be like, oh, I got to go in? You know, work within itself can be, you know, taxing as it is.
Yeah, so it should be like a family. Okay.
So this is a deputy that just texted me just now. I'll let you read what it says. It says, quote, Billy carried respect because he did care about us, but this administration is more out to screw over the loyal deputies and turn on the deputies. So you look, I'm going to block out this person's name, but you can see, oh wait. So they're texting me and calling me.
Yeah, I talk to guys all the time. Yeah,
these
so when
they need a voice.
Right. They do, and I stop and talk to guys all the time. I know what you're saying is true because they saying the same thing to me. You know, they're not happy with the leadership, and it's my opinion that if the county commission is over, I guess, approving a budget or the monies that goes to, you know, or whatever, there should be some responsible oversight going on. And I know that they try to give autonomy to whomever has been appointed or elected in a particular position. Right. But and after a certain amount of time goes by, you know, and you're seeing guys falling off saying, hey, I really don't want to work here. It's just, there needs to be some looking into that and figuring out what's going on.
Right. And specifically, you know, you have to differentiate department heads, like the chief of police. Yeah. Okay. Because they work, all right, directly for the county commissioners and Glenn Stevens, all right, the county administrator. Elected officials, they've used lightly, they should work within the guidelines of the county and the constraints that they have. but they don't always have to. Like, for instance, under the last administration, if they wanted to start a new unit, okay, well, all right, give me a proposal. I would put the proposal in the budget, okay? We would ask for a decision package to be made, all right, so that we can get the bodies and the equipment budgeted to start that program, all right? The last administration just didn't take 5 deputies out of the jail, 2 deputies out of courts, 2 deputies here, and just create the warrant on his own, leaving other areas of the sheriff's office short, especially when you had as many people leave as you did, okay? It's kind of like stay in your lane. You know, there's a lot of things the sheriff's office can do to protect the communities. You know, we can pull all the warrants, say, for the Snellville area, okay? Well, we can contact the PD, the Snellville PD, the county PD, and say, hey, would you guys like to participate in a warrant sweep? Okay, yeah. From this period to this period, collectively work together, have transport vehicles available so that if someone's issued a citation, which is going to require that they be taken to the county jail and bonded out, there's deputies available to transport that individual so that the city or the county officer could stay in service, protecting the public and supporting their fellow brothers and sisters in uniform.
How many warrants do you think there are right now in Gwinnett County, active arrest warrants?
I don't know. I don't know. Give it to us.
48,462.
48,462 active
arrest warrants.
Arrest warrants, just in Gwinnett County alone.
Yes, sir. There's nobody serving warrants. There's a lady that I know. Her husband was killed, vehicular homicide, outside of Walmart a couple of years ago. And the guy went through the court process and he got nervous at the 11th hour and didn't show up for his sentencing. And he's been on the run ever since. Keep in mind, this guy killed somebody, lady's husband. He still hasn't been caught. And he's staying with his parents. His parents are hiding him in Flowery Branch. Now, do you think the sheriff's office has been over there yet? No, because they don't have the manpower for it.
And that's another thing people don't understand. Any sworn officer, okay, even state officers, in Gwinnett County, Georgia, if they take a warrant out and specifically don't have that person in custody, that warrant is given to the sheriff's office for service. All right. It's very complex. All right. There's a lot of older warrants out there that probably need to be reviewed. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, if there's an active warrant out there for someone, they should be taken into custody, specifically when you look at some of the offenses. Okay. The community is less safe if these people aren't taken into custody, okay, out in the community.
So, wow.
Same with the civil papers. How long do you think it takes to get somebody, let's say you have a rental property. Mm-hmm. You go through your process, 120 days or whatever, go for the judge signs the writ. How long do you think it's going to take to get those individuals out of your property?
Maybe 2 months.
9 to 12 months. How are you gonna how are you gonna hold on to the house that long?
Yeah, because they basically they're a squatter at that point.
That's exactly right.
You've lost 9 months to a year of potential income for that property that now you can't rent. Yeah, right. I had a question. Somebody asked me that particular question specifically. 48,400 and something outstanding.
Looking at the numbers right now.
48,462 as of 11:15 at 2:34 p.m.
They have not been served. So what kind of time and manpower do you believe it would take to get that number to a reasonable? I know we need a change in leadership, because nobody's going to come work and we'll always be behind the 8 ball based on what you gentlemen are saying, because people of all kinds of warrants having been served, then you have more potential crime that's going to be committed by the people who haven't been served a warrant.
Well,
so what kind of, go ahead.
It's the best way to put this is it's effective management. Okay. Say for instance, we include, you have both the warrant service officers and then you have the fugitive guys. All right. I'm going to tell you right now, when I was at the police department, okay, if there was a significant incident, okay, where warrants were taken out for an individual who is a risk to the community, that was immediately given to the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office fugitive squad. All right. Other thing I talk about, better management. Okay. Actually having, okay, a rapport with the magistrate courts. Okay. So as soon as a warrant is taken out on someone and it's given to the warrant section, it should be immediately reviewed by a seasoned professional deputy, okay, who can make the determination rather quickly whether that warrant should be prioritized. Okay. It's not happening now. Most of the people that are working in warrants right now are sitting in hospitals on hospital details. Okay.
Or doing this new violent crime task force.
Mm-hmm. On hospital detail?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's just inmates who need to see the doctor, or?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, because they're trapped in there so long. A lot of them now are swallowing things, or, unfortunately, you've had a person raped. That individual almost died. You had one person kept on swallowing items to get out of that. I mean, it's hard for me I'm trying to figure out a way to, without the drama and all the, dramatics, articulate or explain how bad it really is. I don't have the words in my vocabulary. Honestly speaking, it's really that bad. Now, how the governor hasn't gotten involved, or the commissioners, a lot of them, they really don't know. They really don't know how bad it is, because they're doing a good job at covering it up. I mean, they really are.
And I know prior to this.
Yeah, that's the thing. They should be involved. I mean, this is, for those that's tuning in, we have Joe Mark running for Gwinnett County Sheriff, and we have retired Chief Deputy Billy Walsh on. And today our discussion is about the current sheriff regime that we have in office, and the differences between them and the prior administration, what's actually happening, and how this affects us in our everyday life here on a local level. And we all should be concerned because, quite frankly, this is our tax money that we've entrusted to the county commission. And in my view, they should have oversight. They should know what's going on. There should be meaningful ways. When you appoint somebody or somebody's elected, you want to give them autonomy to be able to get things done. So, I mean, you don't want to be behind them with a magnifying glass every second. But when evidence and the numbers and the data is showing something is not working, crime is going up, people don't want to work for certain different offices, and it's consistent among the people that are leaving, then there should be a reasonable way to get involved and get some type of oversight and or audit, depending on what the circumstances are.
Yeah, Anthony, and I'll just, from my perspective, I retired. I had a great career. Love the brothers and sisters I worked with for years, and never even contemplated getting involved. Joe was the one who approached me, and he just wanted to confirm, are you hearing the same thing I'm hearing? And I said, yes, I'm hearing, and it's a shame. Hopefully the current administration will turn things around. Well, it just continued to get worse, and it continued to get worse, and and it's not getting any better at this point. All right. So to continue on going down the path that we're going on, okay, it's just going to cost the county more. It's going to cost the citizens more. It's going to hurt the employees that are there. The best way I can put the sheriff's office into perspective for people that aren't familiar, okay? It's like having an aircraft carrier on the side of 316, okay? You've got thousands and thousands of people. There's more people at the Gwinnett County Jail than there are in most cities. All right, we've got a little, basically a hospital there. Okay, we've got to cook millions of meals a year to keep them fed. All right, then you think about maintenance. What kind of planned maintenance system has been put in place, or has it been upgraded since the new administration's got there? Or do they just wait for a significant problem with the maintenance in the facility before they address it? Okay, there's a lot of things that need to be done proactively, and I'm talking directly to the employees there. Okay, and I'm telling you, it's not being done, and it's not because people are saying it. It's absolutely evident. Okay, by what's actually occurring, the results of this current administration since they have taken over. All right, the lack of cooperation. How do you get inmates out of a facility? Well, guess what? A very high percentage of the inmates that are in the facility are in there for probation violations, right? Well, the first thing you do is you get in touch with the judge. You get in touch with probation. You sit down, you have meetings, you coordinate, all right? And you begin to expedite getting those people out on these probation violations, okay? Lowering your inmate population, okay? Which means obviously your deputy to inmate ratio is higher. Okay, it's safe for everyone in the facility. It's safer for the inmates. Okay, something as simple, for instance, as you have someone who's arrested and convicted of, say, felony shoplifting. They have absolutely no criminal history whatsoever. Okay, but they failed to follow the rules of their probation. Okay. And they're arrested they're stopped on a traffic citation in Washington State. Okay. Should we, as Gwinnett County citizens, extradite that person who's committed no other crimes except not report when they're supposed to, put them on a plane, fly him back to Gwinnett County, put him in front of a judge, and the judge is going to go, okay, you're on felony probation for felony shoplifting. You had 3 years. You stopped reporting. You have no other criminal history. They're going to let that person walk that day, the first day they get the hearing. Why are we going to spend thousands of dollars to extradite this person all the way back to facility? Little things like that. All of that has to be looked at, okay? And it has to be managed efficiently and effectively. Otherwise, money's going to be going places that you can't explain, all right? Working with probation, okay? Working with parole, working with the district attorney's office, all right? Get these people out of the facility. If they're not a threat to the community, all right?
There's no victim.
Let's get them out of the facility, all right? We have to work with other agencies, all right? Yes, people have medical problems. Yes, people have mental health problems. Yes, people have substance abuse problems. All that needs to be coordinated, all right? And you have to efficiently address the needs of your employees and the needs and the reasons why the inmates are there. And it needs to be coordinated, and it needs to be constantly happening. And
so the wasteful spending sounds like it's having an effect on, I guess, how responsible, because we can't fix everything with money.
No,
It's,
I still don't think he's deputized the Duluth police officers. It's been almost 3 years. I still don't think he's deputized, but they got maybe like 1 or 2 detectives, maybe, but the vast majority of the officers, he didn't deputize them.
Wow.
Why?
Wow.
Why would you not do that?
Yeah, your first day in office,
right?
You deputize every sworn certified officer you have in Gwinnett County, and you just make it a force multiplier.
No, and the dog program too. They took that away. Jail dogs. You familiar with the jail dog program?
Yeah, not
He's
really.
taking that away.
Jail dog program taken away. So
taking the dog program away.
What's the average pay of I guess the deputies and everything like that? Just around about ballpark.
Well, I got a pay chart. Yeah. I can tell you.
All right. Yeah, let me
And there's
I
a
just
lot
wonder.
there's a lot of different things that you can do, especially, you know, say, if I'm just throwing this out there, say a starting salary for a deputy is $40,000. Well, if they got a 2-year degree, they get 3%. Mm-hmm. If they got a 4-year degree, they get 6% on top of that. Shift differential. If you have to work the midnight shift,
we should be paying them like a hospital.
Yeah, compensate them for that. All right. There's a lot of different ways you can compensate people. Like I mentioned, tuition reimbursement already. All right. Time off. The deputies aren't getting time off.
No, they're not.
They're having to do hospital details. They're having to help out in other areas. The people that are working warrants, okay, even in investigations, all right, they're having to work shifts in the jail because they're so shorthanded. The primary issue with this is how you treat your people and not managing effectively.
Got it. So you got that number.
This says here, their off days are now actually called, quote, on-call days. So anytime that you're off, you're now on call.
Wow. And for how much money average a year? I'm just curious.
Let's see. A correction. Deputy Sheriff, step 1, starting sheriff, I was close, 42,008. Deputy senior, 48,000, and a master deputy, 51,000.
So wait a minute. So we able to take these other guys that he brought in, which I would say is the Praetorian Guard for him, in my opinion, and pay them up to $120,000.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But you got your regular guys or whatever. I don't want to call it because they're not regular by any stretch, of the imagination. But your guys that are already there, making
the ones
in the 40s,
in the trenches doing the hard work.
Is in the trenches doing the hard work. But you take the money and give it to other guys that you're bringing in or what have you. Man,
like for instance, giving up sworn positions to have a program manager's position. Okay. And you bring someone in from outside the sheriff's office. Okay. Well, if I was a senior deputy, okay, at the sheriff's office, and we'll say master deputy, and I'm at step 7.
Yeah, the sheriff.
Or step 8.
Sheriff gave himself a raise.
I'm making $70,000 a year. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then how they're thanked for all their hard work is they create a position, give up other sworn positions, bring that person in, making $30,000, $40,000 more than a dedicated, seasoned employee.
Oh yeah, in your face.
He paid himself an extra $50,000.
Yeah, and the big issue that I thought was off with that is we had the county government put this video out on Gwinnett Co. You have me and you have talked about the immigration status and all of that. We saw stuff going on the border, but the bottom line is this here. We know that the fentanyl crisis is coming across the border. And it's my belief, if you're arresting somebody, it might be meaningful to find out what their status is. That's just everybody that brings in, because this shouldn't be like has nothing to do with going after a particular group of people. It's just, we know that this stuff is coming across the border, but they did this whole, it's like a series of 3 different videos, and this lady's on there crying because her daughter, I don't know if she took a Percocet that was laced with fentanyl and ended up dying. But then I'm thinking, you got a sheriff in here that asked for $50,000 more. You guys gave it to him. You're not getting down to the bottom of that part, or doing everything that, or at least appear to do everything that you can to do to find out where the fentanyl is coming in. Now, your method of how you do it, that may be whatever. That's up for the sheriff's discretion. You may not get in, or some people may not support 287G or whatever the case may be. But there are ways, like Joe have said, hey, if you come in the county, you causing a problem, you making people unsafe, we don't necessarily have to have a 287G, but there are ways to get you out of here if you've sneaked over here or whatever, or if you just causing problems, to get you out of here.
Yeah, 32 years working in this county, and I'm going to tell you, and I just tell it like it is. Yes, we have lodged influx of Hispanics, all right, but we also do have Haitians, all right. But I'm going to tell you what, the criminal elements of all of those communities, because they all stick together, all right. Even the South American, you know, you go into an apartment complex and it'll be majority El Salvador, all right. You go to another one, the majority's Mexican. Another one's majority Guatemalan. Well, who do you think the dope dealers, the burglars, okay, the sex offenders, who do you think their victims are?
Yeah.
Their own community.
It is. It's true.
Their own community.
It's true.
You know,
okay.
There's another thing I wanted to, you know, there used to be a reserve deputy program. When he got in office, he got rid of the reserve deputy program. That, from what I was told, that took away, they could have covered up to 20 shifts a month for free. So these are deputies that have retired that volunteer their time at the sheriff's office for free. So now you have a post-certified veteran, retired with respect, all that years of knowledge. He gets rid of that. They could be covering some of these shifts now. So I think we got about, I'd say about 90 or so people that have agreed to come back to work for us as soon as we get elected. I say we because I talked him into coming out of retirement. He's going to be my chief deputy for 2 years. I got him for 2 years. He's going to help me out. I have a great team, fantastic team of veteran, very well-respected individuals. We're going to put the right people in place, not because I have to repay a political favor or because I worked 25 years with so-and-so.
And I definitely don't want to come out of retirement.
No,
so say that again, Joe, because that's big. You said you got up to 90 guys or
I
people.
have up to, it's actually over 90 qualified persons that have agreed to come back to the sheriff's office January the 1st. There's so many of them. We're strategizing. We got to get with HR to figure out how we can expedite some of the stuff. So we're still a year out, and I've already got 90 people. So that tells you right there that, you know, I'm pretty sure they'd vote for the dog catcher before they put this guy back in office. So, I mean, I don't know. It's horrible. And I feel bad for these people that have to go there because they're not there by choice. They're there because they're trapped there. They're either part of the old retirement plan for the pension and they can't leave, or they've got a position to where they're at with the rank, you know, and they got wives and kids or whatever, husbands, whatever. Everybody who's there right now, I guarantee you, I'm sure there's a select few that are all about Team Kibo. I get that, you know, but I would bet you pretty much anything. The vast majority of the men and women that are still there are there because they have to be, not because they want to be.
Yeah. Trying to keep food on the table.
No, and it's really sad. I don't know, you know, I know that, you know, there was some oversight, you know, by a judicial branch. Okay. They would come in and tour the facility and talk to the deputies. And I don't even know if that's happening anymore. And it's just the hardest thing to do is to effectively manage people, and it's not being done. All right. And if you don't take care of your people, you know, if you think you can go into work every day and run the police department or the sheriff's office or the fire department, all right, and not have effective people underneath you, okay, and allowing them to manage their people properly and professionally, okay, you're going to run it into the ground. You know, I use the analogy of an aircraft carrier all the time. All right. If everybody on that aircraft carrier got off, could the captain run the ship by himself? No, it's not happening. Okay. It's never going to be mission ready until the leadership is in place to give the people that work there and do the daily tasks, the tools, okay, the equipment, the training that they need so that they can better serve the citizens of Gwinnett County. Okay.
Yeah. So the K9, I know you had mentioned that earlier, Joe. So how significant is having a good, effective K9 unit within the jails? And now that we don't have it, from what you're saying, how much of a significant loss is that in, I guess, other preventative measures and everything like that?
Antonio, Joe was talking about the jail dog program, where inmates have dogs that they're taking care of.
Okay.
That they put up for adoption.
Okay. So it's not really the dog that polices, but it's just kind of like something socially that the inmates can.
And I just tell you from my perspective on being there, they're both really, really important. Okay. One, I mean, your law enforcement canine, they can find drugs, they can find cell phones. Okay. Do they make the facility safer? Absolutely. Okay. The jail dog program that was in place for years, the citizens in the community love it. It's great for the inmates. They learn responsibility. They're assigned a dog. They help the dog. They train the dog. All right. And in turn, they get a lot out of it. Okay. And you have an animal that, yes, spent time in the facility, was trained, in a lot of cases, medically taken care of. All right. And then is put up for adoption. It's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah. It's a huge force multiplier when it comes to the recidivism rate. And he just ousted it, man. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't know.
Yeah. For those just tuning in, make sure you share this video. We have Sheriff candidate for Gwinnett County, Joe Mark, and Billy Walsh, who is a retired chief deputy, on today, just kind of talking about some of the issues with the current sheriff regime here in Gwinnett County, but also some of the, potential solutions and things that will be different if and when he takes office to get rolling. He's already explained that he has over 90 plus people that are willing to come back and work for the sheriff's office. I mean, that's huge. And it says something. And what it says is the leadership that we have now is not adequate. And what I don't understand, and what people probably would want to know, is why are maybe the county government is looking into this and none of us have any idea. But however, whatever's going on, nothing's changing about the culture of working in or around the sheriff's office, because if it was, then when we see guys out in the street, they wouldn't be saying, man, I just counting down. I can't wait. I got 2 more years, or I got so much more time. And that's not no way to feel,
Your view is they hopefully this better informs them. Okay. Have them inquire. When was the last time the Gwinnett County grand jury visited the jail, visited the sheriff, visited the courts, all right, and has actually issued a report on their perspective of what kind of a job the elected sheriff is doing. Okay, ask how much money are we spending to house these people at Irwin County? All right, what programs do we got in place? All right, there's so much we're responsible for. All right, if we are short-staffed and we can't effectively arrange an attorney meeting with their client, okay, and expedite getting a court date so that person can get out of the facility, okay, it just backlogs everything. So every little step is so important, from attorney-client meetings that occur at the facility, from working with the court system, with communicating with the district attorney's office, the solicitor's office, the state courts, okay? Everyone has to work together. Yes, do you have to make compromises in some cases? Absolutely, okay? But if everyone's willing to just do a little bit more, okay, things get done a lot more effective. If everyone just sits back on their heels, blames it on COVID, blames it on the economy, okay, blames it on changes in our society, all right?
The COVID excuse is dead. I don't think nobody want to hear nothing else about the COVID excuses. That's so overfried. You know, nobody's accepting that no more. That's just, when I hear that from somebody, the next thought that comes to my mind is this person probably standing up here telling me a bold-faced lie right now. Because COVID is not an excuse unless you are literally still sick or having long-term complications from having had it. Otherwise, we don't have no mercy for no excuses for COVID
right now. I don't. If you run for office, okay, it doesn't matter whether a judgeship, solicitor, district attorney, sheriff. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, but okay, you have to. Your priority must be the citizens of Gwinnett County and the victims of crime. The victims. Okay, the victims expect results. Okay, the victims expect the judicial system from the time a cop locks them up on the street, by the time they're kept in the jail, by the time they go to before a court, okay, get sentenced, okay, and by the time they get out of the Department of Corrections and are assigned a parole officer, it is their responsibility, okay, to support the poor victim of that crime or the family that lost someone, all right? I'm sorry, we will do everything on the front end, the middle end, and the back end to help someone, okay, who's got mental health problems, who's got drug problems, okay? All right, who may not have had the best upbringing in front. Everything, it has to be multiple prongs. It has to be addressed, okay? But the fact of the matter, if you commit a crime in Gwinnett County, you should know, okay, that you're going to jail, all right? And you're going to be treated fairly, respectively, okay? And with equal justice under the law. But just because someone's elected and has a different opinion, okay, because they're obviously not serving the citizens or the victim, we're not there to serve, okay, any type of assistance when it comes to the judicial process. Yes, we need to feed them. We need to give them medical care, all right? But because you're an elected official, I have a different opinion, someone shouldn't be back out on the streets committing crimes because you didn't prosecute them. Right. All right. Or you didn't issue an arrest warrant. All right. Everything when it comes to the sheriff, district attorneys, judges, it needs to be nonpartisan. Okay. Right. I don't care.
They should be abiding by what the Constitution has already laid out before us, so all the citizens can be protected, you know, and doing their respective jobs.
Independent, Democrat, friggin' Republican. I'm telling you right now, they need to get rid of all that when it comes to these judicial elections, okay? Because collectively, no matter what your opinions are, collectively, the sheriff, the DA, the judges, okay, they got elected by the people, all right? They are serving the people, all right? They're there for the people, okay? Not their own personal agendas. And if we can't collaborate as a whole community, okay, and make those changes, because we're the ones who made the mistake if we're not getting results, because we elected them, okay? We went in there and checked their name, all right? For whatever reason, we need to become educated and put people in those places, all right, that are going to do what you expect when you vote for them.
That's right. But when we get, just say for instance, and that's why the Constitution is so important, because we can elect somebody to go in somewhere, just like Joe, you run businesses or whatever have you. You can hire somebody or whatever, and they come in, they're not doing their job. And in the process, just say if you got to wait for 2 years before you can fire this person, right, what about all the injury that's happening to society? You know, and that's why it's so important. And that's where I think the ultimate power can lie within the different legislators. They can create commissions. They can do investigation. That's where all of these things become so important. It's just like in the school board situation. Yeah, these are elected positions and the people elect them or what have you. But what happens, just say God forbid, one of the school board members get strung out on drugs and everybody knows it. Does the public have to wait 2 years or however long for this person to go, and people are suffering injury? And that's why each part of the governmental body needs to work, just like you gentlemen are saying. And when that doesn't work, it needs to go up another level legislatively to be able to get things done. But our doctrine should lie within the Constitution, and each department or leadership should do things and enact policies and regular, whatever in their purview that is going to be in tandem with the Constitution of Georgia and in the United States. And that should be our relief.
Listening to all this, Antonio, you're right. I encourage citizens listening to this, they need to get on the phone and call the governor's office. If you're a citizen of Gwinnett County and you know what's going on here and you're fed up with it, unfortunately, the only person that can do anything in this situation is Brian Kemp. Gwinnett County doesn't have a coroner. We have a medical examiner. So the sheriff has literally unchecked power. Unless you're Brian Kemp or another, or the governor of Georgia, there's nothing anybody could do about this. Nothing. So get on the phone, get on your email. If you're fed up with this, contact the governor. Contact your local representative. Air your grievance. I'd like to see how many of our local representatives have actually been in the jail and walked around and seen what it's like. I'd be curious for them to go over there unannounced before they can, clean up one small little area to walk a tour group through. Go in there. You start smelling feces, Antonio, from the elevator getting off.
Wow. We might just have to, because I got a couple people that I might be able to, we might just need to make that happen and do a pop-up. Yeah. Go ahead, Billy.
I can tell you from when I worked there, the minute you went through those sliders and walked into the jail facility, you smelled bleach and cleaner, okay? There were details going around the facility, painting what needed to be painted. There was a planned maintenance system in place, and it was constantly ongoing, okay? Obviously, and I've been told directly, that is not happening anymore, okay? The other thing that your listeners need to know, yes, all right, as citizens, you have the power. You need to act. You're the only ones that can change things, all right? You look at it from a local level, from an individual department or office, okay, up to the county level and the city levels and the state levels. Everyone says, oh, we're going to have a hearing and we're going to have a meeting, all right? How many hearings and meetings do we hear about in the newspapers and online and on TV? All right, they had a hearing, but nothing ever gets done. As a leader, if you're sitting in a room, okay, there has to be a time you have to go, no, we can sit here and talk about this all day long, all right? If we have a mountain in front of us, all right, there's three things we should be discussing. We can go to the right of it, we can go to the left of it, or we can go over it. Let's discuss how we're going to get this done and start moving. If we start down one road and it's not working, have the flexibility to change, all right? If path one's not working, go down path two. But you cannot sit idle every single day and just watching things crumble around you. You have to make a difference, all right? You have to do something. And when people see that in a leader, okay, guess what? They jump on board. All right. It may start out with 2 or 3 people. I go, man, that's a good idea. But what about doing this? And then 3 and 4 other people get in. And in the end, you get something accomplished. Yeah. And it could be someone who's still in recruit training. I mean, I've seen it throughout my career. All right. You have to have leadership that knows how to lead, takes care of people. All right. And manages effectively and knows when it's time. Okay. Well, this ain't working. So I'm going to have to make some changes to this, all right? And collaborate with people. Get input from the citizens, all right? Get input from the inmates, all right? Yeah. I mean, there's some really smart inmates in the jail.
Yeah, hey, so you got to care first, though. You got to care about. Right.
You've got to care.
You got to care about what you're doing and put others first in order to come to that realization in your own mind when you're a leader. And from what I'm hearing, that's not the vibe I'm getting from the officers and people.
No,
that,
they're more considerate with the optics look like. You know, I'm out here handing out turkeys. Well, that's a great cause. He handed out a bunch of turkeys the other day. That's great. But those turkeys
but priority is the jail and the leadership.
Right. Get on your feet. Like you saw me down in the housing areas. What good are the turkeys for the less fortunate when every third car is a Mercedes or an Escalade or a $75,000 Tahoe? That's what I saw at the turkey giveaway. I didn't see, disenfranchised citizens. You know what I'm saying? You got to go because the people who really need that food, they don't have the car or the gas money to drive out to a local place. You know what I'm saying? You got to get into the community.
Yeah.
But if you want to just hand out turkeys for everybody, that's great. But don't put on an optic at a show that says that you're helping, the disenfranchised citizens of the county. When you look down in the parking lot, every third or fourth vehicle, like I said, Mercedes, Escalade, those people, I mean, come on now. I got to tell you, I am very thankful and very blessed because I have the best team. I'm putting together the best people I can find, and they're willingly wanting to help when it comes to recidivism. The best leaders from all these nonprofits. We are going to do some game-changing things when I'm elected. And I mean it's game-changing because nobody's doing it. You have a group over here like in Tennessee that's doing one thing, or Maricopa County may be doing something different. But I'm going to tell you, Gwinnett, with how large we are, how diverse that we are, we will be implementing and doing things that will set the path for the rest of the nation. I promise you. And all I'm asking is for an opportunity to prove myself. That's it.
And I mean, they even asked about the GRIP program that the sheriff's office had, whether that's still being implemented. That was a reentry program where guys were, assisted with a place to stay temporarily. Also seeking the right amenable path, all right, which is a youth program. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a volunteer program. They work with the courts. Privately, I can throw some wonderful deputies that were working in that program. They work with, it's a youth diversion program. Actually, the juvenile courts that Gwinnett used, it's deputies that were doing that. There's so many, I'm telling you, there are so many deputies at that facility, okay, that do so much, okay, when it comes to taking care of one another, the community, and giving back to the community.
Yeah, I'd say to the deputies to hold on. We're gonna get the next leadership in there to do the right thing. Just hang in there. We appreciate what you're doing and all the sacrifices that you're making, working up underneath the regime that's in there. You guys stick together and continue to do the right thing.
That's been bothering me that I saw, and I'm going to use this platform to say it. He had the veterans pod over there. He had them paraded the other day, and I was really bothered by this. As a combat military veteran, I can tell you, he took those veterans pods, which, by the way, it was his idea that put the veterans.
It was a very professional staff assistant that I had that made me aware of the program, and then it finally came to fruition. So.
And he wants to get these guys out of their cell, give them a shower, parade them on show. Stop using people and things and situations to make yourself look good.
Yep.
I'm telling you what, man.
Everything nowadays is about a photo op on social media for people to make themselves look good, man. And it's disgusting, man, is what it is. It really is. It really is.
Everyone. If people really want to make change, all right, people can sit back and listen to this and they can voice their opinions. They've got to act, man. They've got to get out there and vote. They've got to reach out to their friends. If everybody listens to this, okay, and I guarantee you most people have hundreds, if not thousands, of contacts, okay, in their phone alone, in their hand. Okay, man, everybody you know that lives in Gwinnett or has a family member or a friend that lives in Gwinnett, take 5 minutes. All right, send the emails, send the text messages. So much gets done with social media now that it needs to be used effectively to make change in this case.
Yeah, that's right. So what are some other ways that people can well, tell the people how to follow you, Joe, and how they can contribute to the campaign and get all the updates and everything like that, and find all the events.
Yeah. I've got I got a QR code that I'm going to post. I'm going to QR code that's going to take you directly to my social media, Facebook, website. Our website's in multiple languages. If there's a language on there that you know a citizen does not notice that needs to be on there, by all means, Facebook, you know, at Joseph Mark for Sheriff. I'm on TikTok, Instagram. Like I said, I'm very, very blessed. I got an awesome team that's behind me helping me out. So I'll get you the QR code to donate, and then we'll give you the dates. We got to beat this guy in the primary, which is in May of next year. So I'm out early because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I genuinely care, and I want to know we're big and diverse. So, you know, I want to hit the ground running January 1st. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you guys an update 30 days in, 90 days in, 120 days in. I'm going to have the cameras in there because I guarantee you when I get up in there, that place is going to be an absolute disaster. But, you know, I do have some bills to pay. I do, you know. I'm not looking to create a nonprofit and to roll my campaign money into your nonprofit, Sheriff Taylor. I'm not looking to do that. I'm looking to pay my bills. So please, if you can afford to, you know, make a campaign contribution, I would be very, very, very humble for that. I got some bills I got to pay. So, yeah, just thank you.
Yeah, and Antonio, I could speak for Joe because we already had this conversation. People have to understand when Joseph Marcus Sheriff, okay, it's the people's sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the people's jail. Okay. The people should expect results and ask for results.
Yes.
Okay. There needs to be transparency. All right. If a mother's worried about her 19-year-old son that's in the jail, bring her into the jail. All right. Show her an effective, efficient operation. Okay. And that he's being treated with dignity and respect, and he's getting the counseling and the medical treatment that he needs. All right. That's where this needs to go, as well as improving your recruitment and retention and your professionalism of the sheriff's office as a whole. Because I'm going to tell you right now, all my years at the police department, and you live in the Snellville area, you see a police vehicle driving through there. Well, guess what? He's going to a call he's been dispatched to, all right? Or he's just patrolling the neighborhood to keep it safe. If you see those black cars in your neighborhood that says sheriff on them, there's some business going to be taken care of, all right? We're either doing a verification of a sex offender. We're serving a warrant, okay? We're serving a family violence order, all right? Something is getting done, okay? You know, somebody's going to be holding some papers if someone's going to jail. And that's the bottom line, no matter unincorporated Gwinnett or any of the cities, all right? It's important that everybody collectively realizes how important the sheriff's office is. Thank you for your time.
All right, no problem. You got anything else, Joe, that you want to share to wrap it up?
No, that's it. Just, you know, go to my website, please, www.joemarkforsheriff.com. And then if you have questions, hit me up. I'll answer them.
All right, sounds great. You guys hold on for a second here. And,
yes,
all right, that was Joe Mark for Sheriff, along with Billy Walsh, retired chief deputy. We got to get this thing straight here in the sheriff's office. We got to address it. We need, I won't even say we need more oversight, but if we don't have any, then we need oversight of what's happening. And when things aren't working, we got to be smart enough to change it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be dialed in. I mean, we've got some very, very important elections that's coming up. And to be honest with you, it's going to get quite nasty between now and next year. And we need people in office who are going to stand up and fight and do the right thing. That's the bottom line. And if candidates are not going to do that, they don't present themselves in such a way. I mean, ask them the hard questions. Do all of that, because we need to know who we're dealing with going into this next election, because things are getting pretty bad everywhere you look. So, you know, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. War Room Gwinnett County. Tell a friend about the podcast. Also, to any other viewers who might be watching, this show is not just for candidates that's running for office. Anybody's welcome to call in, you know, do a live. If we're missing some things, we got any information wrong, we like to know that. This show is crowdsourced. If you would like to make a contribution, the information is hashtag War Room GC. We've invested a lot into this. We're not looking to get rich off of this. What we're doing is really a public service. But if you could make a small contribution, that would be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Accelerate your business goals and brand presence on the World Wide Web by logging on to safewayhost.store to purchase domain names, web hosting, email hosting, SSL, and more. We have 24/7 customer service and support available to our clients. Get started today so you can achieve your business goals by increasing your web presence. Log on to safewayhost.store today. That's safewayhost.store.
War Room, Gwinnett County, the people's voice, keeping you informed. War Room, Gwinnett County, the people's voice.